Welcome back to another episode of The Gold Room. Today we have the King of Tough, Daniel Harper himself. Mate, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure. I'm more than happy to be here.
Excellent,
it's been a long time coming, actually. We
has
planned this in, what was it, probably
End
December.
It was end of last year, mate.
Yeah,
but hey, listen, good things take time.
Oh, there does, and there's been a lot that's gone on. So, but I'm here now, and I'm happy to be here.
Beautiful, mate. Yeah. Look, we always start with the life and the times. So kick us off with the life and times of Daniel Harper.
Well, where do I start? Well, if you go right back, like one of three boys, essentially grew up with no money. Mum and dad had no money, grew up in the recession we had to have. I actually finished year 12 and spent, you will believe it or not, 12, actually no, it was 18 months as a garbo. Old school garbo running behind the truck.
Oh, mate, I was about to say.
Yeah, so I was
running. Were you playing any sports at the time? Footy or league?
Footy and basketball was my, played at a junior, like elite level growing up. I just fell into the job, like had nothing to do. I was working at, I think, Woolies or something like that before that. I think back then it was actually Safeway. That shows how old I am. Started running behind a truck for about 18 months and worked with some, let's just say, some pretty hard guys.
I can imagine.
When you,
teardrop tattoos.
Yeah, teardrop tattoos, guys with the DTs on a Friday morning after payday. Wow. I'm on the work board. You'd have, such and such, not here, 6 months jail, this type of stuff. So
you come in as a clean skin.
Oh yeah, clean skin, 18-year-old boy, fit as hell, and it made me even fitter. But the biggest thing is it taught me how to work. Yeah. That was it. They were hardcore guys and unforgiving. So I did that for about 18 months, and then went and did an apprenticeship as a refrigeration mechanic. By the time I was 23, had my own business, which I got to say, and like this is a credit to you and any other, I suppose, business owners out there, is it teaches you lessons. It teaches, the buck stops with you. You'll work any hours, and I suppose, and I learnt the fact that you have to treat it like your hobby. You have to love your business like a hobby. So I did that, built that up, and then essentially at about the age of 30, when I had kids, I was looking at how many hours I was working and all sorts of stuff, and I was just like, you know what? I want to go do something else. And that's probably been the biggest thing with me, is I'm not a guy that sits in his comfort zones and just just relaxes. I don't like monotony. I don't like the day-to-day. I like to really push things hard. So after that, I went and worked for a company called Magellan for a while, doing mobile mapping and GPS. Yep. Back in the day before TomToms and now smartphones and that type of stuff.
Magellan's a huge company, mate.
Massive.
Into everything.
Massive, yeah. And so I did that for a while, and then went back into the automotive industry and ran a four-wheel drive chain in Melbourne. That was my introduction into four-wheel drive industry. We had 6 stores. It was called Duncan's 4x4. I suppose built that up, worked there for a few years, and then went into corporate, worked for GPC, Repco, which taught me a lot. I was in my early 30s there, went to uni then as well. They actually paid for me to go to uni. Thank you, GPC. Degree? Yeah. So went and did that, and then worked there for a while. And I suppose there, the big thing was a big company. It was going through a lot of changes, and I wanted more. That was I was probably not at a ceiling, but it was hard for me to go that next level, because there was lots of long timers and that sort of thing, and I'm not the most patient guy. That's probably so,
neither am I.
Yeah, that's it. I want it done today. So
you learn patience though.
As you get older, you do.
Yeah,
you do.
I've had to.
As I've got older, I've got more patient with people and more patient with look, there's still the level of frustration. Don't get me wrong, but. Yeah, you sometimes you learn how to breathe.
Oh, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah,
for me, it's gritting my teeth.
Yeah.
I just end up like if I hear something I don't like, I grit my teeth.
You grit your teeth, and you'll So then went and worked for a company called Trico, was national sales manager there, was there for a while. They do wiper blades, actually invented the wiper blade. So again, in the automotive industry, launched some products to market that really got me going in the marketing space as well. Cool. Was there for a few years and then went to a company you guys would probably know and most of the viewers would know called ITW, Illinois Tool Works. So
once again, they're a huge operation.
Massive. I think back then they were about $19.5 billion US globally. Wow. Probably even more so than going to uni. That was the biggest learning curve. I think like uni and going to school teaches you so much, but life experience, hard work, that type of stuff, and making mistakes. That's where you learn. So ITW was a really, really tough place to work, but it taught me so much. And those lessons still now have lasted with me. Yeah, like I still use them today in the business I am now. Then I worked at Snap-on Tools
cool.
for a while.
Was that awesome?
No, it was horrible. Really? Look, I mean, great product, amazing brand, great business, the whole bit. Like anyone that's done franchising before, it's not for everybody, and it wasn't for me. That was the thing. So I just
so you had a truck?
No. I actually ran the franchisees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so ran a big region of franchisees. As I said, the business was highly profitable and that type of thing. But to me, I just I felt I suppose I got too big a heart. I felt sorry for some of these franchisees, what they were going through. Yep. So then I just wanted to take a break and then went totally left field. Stepped out of corporate, went into business for myself again in consulting, and actually was involved in private finance and housing developments and that type of thing.
Wow, did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, really enjoyed it, and it was, again, feast or famine. Like
commission based,
all commission based. Yep. Yeah, so did some big private finance deals and that type of thing, and some involved in some developments, and it was what's the best way to put it? They're an interesting breed in that game. So there's a high level of emotion because a lot of it's their money, but it's very analytical, and it was a hard time because it was after the Royal Commission into banking and finance and that type of thing.
They should probably do another one.
Yeah, probably should. Yeah, so let's not get down that track. So then I was there for a while, did that for a few years, and I missed the. I wanted to get back into something that I loved. So a recruiter reached out to me to be the general sales and marketing manager for a company called U-Pol Australia and New Zealand, which is the brand holder or was the distributor for RAPTOR, RAPTOR Coating in Australia. And essentially, I love the product. Always been a four-wheel drive camping guy. I love being outdoors and that type of thing. And so I really connected with the product and the market, and essentially from there just grew just came in looking after the marketing, got it into the big retailers. Sales went through the roof. Like we grew sales by, I think in 3 years, I grew sales by like 40% in the retail channel. Then earlier this year, U-Pol Australia, New Zealand, which was the distributor, family owned by a gentleman by the name of Robert McClymont. He started the business in his garage in 1987, I think it was, shipping in containers and then built it up. The parent company or the brand holder, U-Pol Limited, which is owned by a company called Axalta, which is the biggest automotive paint company in the world. They purchased it in March 13th. So as part of that, I was then promoted up to general manager. So now I run the business across Australia and New Zealand. And
March last year?
No, March this year.
Oh,
actually.
wow! Okay,
so,
cool. Congratulations.
So pretty new. It's been a lot of work, but it's really exciting because like a family-owned business can be, it can end up stifled through, aversion to risk and then investment and that type of thing. With a $6 billion US company behind us, I think sky's the limit. So over the years I've been at U-Pol, we've diversified the product. We've gone into retail, which is DIY retail, four-wheel drive market. Sort of transitioned that into normal cars as well. Then our main business has been that refinish industry, which is smash repairs, panel shops and that type of thing. And then over, I saw that probably about 3.5, 4 years ago that we need to diversify a bit further. You can't rely on two streams of revenue. So what I did was, launched Raptor into the, if you want to call it, like we call it the industrial market, which means it's a big word. I always say it's a big word. It involves agriculture, mining, commercial transport, etc., and that's continued to grow. It's a more linear curve, but it lends itself really well to that, to that industry because of its durability, etc.
Yeah, mate, what a life.
Yeah,
you've done a fair bit, and to get you to the position of GM where you are today, testament to hard work. That's awesome.
As I said, we're talking about frustration before, and it's quite funny. I was talking to my son the other day, and he's quite a footballer and that type of thing, and he's going to go to a trade, as most young boys should these days, because I make better money doing that. And we were talking about, and he goes, "Oh, Dad," he goes, "I can't understand why people don't want to try, don't want to push harder, and this sort of thing." He goes, "I don't understand." He goes, "It does my head in." And I said, "Mate," I said, "it still does my head in, but you got to accept that, that there's people that do and there's people that don't. That's right. That's it, and you want to be a doer. That's,
Sure do. I always say, if an opportunity presents itself, think to yourself, how can I do that? Can I do that? And then give it a crack. I'll give that a bloody fair wallop.
Yeah, and it's amazing, like an old mentor of mine, like he talks about the comfort circle. That it is, and the fact that you'll step out of that circle and you'll be scared, but then you step back in and you go, "Oh shit, that was actually not too bad." Then you step back, and each time you step out, that circle gets bigger and bigger, and your skill set grows, and that type of thing. And it's funny, like we had our conference 2 months ago now, and the book I always refer to is, and this is a funny little book. It's called "Who Moved My Cheese," and that is testament to that, and it's something that a mentor gave to me 20 odd years ago, and to this day, everywhere I go, I still pick it up every 12, 18 months and give it a bit of a read, just a bit of a refresh. So
I've got a couple of books actually, much like that. Myself. Well, Dan, let's get into Raptor, mate. King of Tough.
Yes, the King of Tough. Yeah. It's been a phenomenal success. First hit the market globally in 2005. Okay, so it's taken a while to get going in Australia. And it probably grew with the emergence of the four-wheel drive market and a younger generation and that type of thing. The product's not for everyone because it's that textured coating. But the one thing that it does provide everyone is it's that mantra, the 5 times tougher, is something that holds it really, really well. Like it, and it's something that across the four-wheel drive or automotive, refinish, or whether it's industrial, it holds itself up really well there. So over the 20 years, over those times, it's just it's been a long burn, and then probably in the last 4 or 5 years was where it really, really took off, and we've the business has done well. It's now our largest selling product.
That's amazing. So you say 5 times tougher. Now, that's a bloody bold claim.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yep.
And so do you have any testing behind that?
Yeah. So all Raptor product, whether it's a 2K product or a 1K product, okay, it has to be, it needs to meet a certain parameter on a scale of different things. So impact durability, corrosion resistance, UV, stability, chemical resistance, and just trying to think of the other one, but also adhesion as well. So because obviously if it doesn't stick, It's no good. So so in that, where does it get its toughness from? Okay, it's a polyurethane product. Okay, its main thing is that it due to its composition, it can go on thicker. So when you're talking paints, you're talking microns. Yep. So if you look at a standard paint, anywhere from 70 to 80 kind of microns, that's what it goes on to. Then when you talk about Raptor, anywhere from that 80. Okay, which is pretty thin, all the way up to 350 microns.
Wow.
So with that, you've got more paint, more coverage, more texture, et cetera, that gives it that toughness, if you want to call it.
Yeah. Mate, run us through the Raptor 2K system.
Yeah, okay, so it's pretty basic. It's essentially a 2-pack paint, okay? So it's at a 3-to-1 ratio. So essentially, and look, and that's probably one of the greatest things about it is its simplicity. Okay, so 3-to-1, whether you buy it in a bottle or whether you're buying it in, so we do 1 litre bottle that you can basically pour the hardener in, shake it up, and then shoot.
That's the one that most people are using on their vehicles, spraying tubs and
that's right. It's easy.
Like
It's easy. Yeah. Then we do a 5 litre as well, which you could, you pour that into, could be a pressure pot, could be a HLVP gun, or it could be just a spray gun, etc. So that's the other one. Then we
have to thin it down.
Well, you can
a little bit.
No, you can. Yeah. So what you use is, generally a 1.8 to 2.5 mil, even up to 3 mil tip.
Okay.
And look, that's one of the things with Raptor is the fact that you can vary that texture and the look a lot. So you can create all sorts of looks out of that, even to the point that we're, one of the things that's become popular now is in the powder coating game is like a textured look. It looks sort of grainy. So we can actually create that exact same texture out of Raptor.
Wow.
And you can actually paint with the right process. You can actually paint over the top of the powder coating as well. So so great for repairs. And look, and that's probably the big thing is that Raptor is, because of the texture on it, it's very easy to, if you do ding it or chip it or whatever, it's really easy to repair. It can be repaired on site. It can be repaired with we do a 2-pack aerosol. Ask me 7 years ago, whether you could buy a 2-pack paint and an aerosol. I'd say no way, But now you've got an aerosol that you puncture the bottom of it. It's got the hardener in it. You shake it up and then you spray it. And quite literally, when you spray this, it's almost got a recoil. That's how much pressure is in the can.
Yep.
So so we do the aerosol. We do a 1 litre. We do a 5 litre, and we do a 200 litre. So the 200 litre is pretty cool. Has specialist equipment.
That's the one that I think will be amazing for the mining industry.
Oh yeah. I
think some of the salinity levels out on these mine sites is crazy. You look underneath the bloody any old Toyota Hilux, and the rust is just coming through.
It's stuffed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ruined.
Yeah.
So actually, that brings me to my next question. Run me through the salt test.
Yeah, so the salt testing. So one of the things that Raptor's got, and there's other products out there that say they're just like Raptor, but they're not. Okay.
Are we allowed to say who they are?
No, we won't do that. No, we won't give them any exposure. But there is other products out there that are similar, similar in look, but not in durability and testing. So one of the things that's done in this space is called ASTMs, which is an American standard which is used globally. As we know, that the US is the center of the known universe.
Yep. ASTM B117.
There's all sorts of, that's the salt spraying. So what it is each one of those, and there's ASTMs on salt spraying, chemical resistance, UV resistance, impact resistance, non-slip, etc. So one of the things that Raptor's done over the years is we've built this whole, if you want to call it, catalogue of ASTMs, okay, that essentially with all different codes where they've actually met these standards So when they're used correctly and applied, there's a, if you want to call it, there's a performance expectation on those that they will deliver. So the salt spray testing is really around corrosion. That's the main one, which, as we know in a lot of these mine sites, is, as you said, whether it's salt spray or whether it's alkalinity as well. That's another one that affects whether it's chassis on Hilux, Land Cruisers, general machinery, the whole bit.
What about, so my mind just goes to, I've seen some bloody horrific handrails over the years, and I wonder, can you get, you probably do, can you put a yellow tint?
Well, that's one of the great things about Raptor is you've got white, in the bottle, you've got black in the bottle, not in the same bottle, obviously. You've just got to make that clear for everyone.
Someone's trying to do a zebra paint.
All that camouflage paint is and it's tintable. That's one of the things. So essentially, any colour you can make it. So we're seeing great development in that area of that safety yellow. On handrails. Look, and the great thing about Raptor from from a maintenance perspective is, you can spray it, but the big one is you can also roll it. So you can put it in a roller and actually roll it and touch it up. So,
I've actually got a client that wants me to bring some out to site on my next sales run, so I'll take some out and give it a go.
And when you, so we do another product that's like an additive. It's called traction. Yep. So when you do your just say you're going to do a tread on a step, okay, and you paint it in Raptor in the yellow, okay. What you do is this traction. It's an aluminium oxide. So all you do is you sprinkle it across the top. It actually settles in and bonds into the Raptor coating and gives it extra traction. And then it's actually an ASTM actually rated non-slip surface.
Awesome.
So that's and the great thing about that is the fact that if it's exposed to sun, chemical, all those things that it's exposed to in Australian conditions, especially where this market is playing, or working, it'll last. It's not tape peeling off or anything like that. So it lasts a long time.
Shoot, man, that's bloody impressive. Where's Raptor being used right now in the industrial world? Where is it not?
Where is it not? Okay, so where can it not be used? Look, it's one of those things that once you understand Raptor, and what we find is that once people use it, we get amazed at some of the applications as to where it is. So essentially, everything, where's, everything from, tankers on site on the actual tanks, the fuel tanks, etc. As I said, all the way across, stairs, platforms, handrails, general machinery. I mean, even to the point where we've got a client that builds, and this is right in your game, and you'd know who they are probably. They do the it's like a 40-foot container filled with lithium batteries and a management system, and then it's got solar panels and all that on top. Yep. They're now using Raptor on it. Because in the environment that it's going to, we're talking the Pilbara and Cowell and places like that, it's actually standing up. It's actually prone that it's standing up in that area. And also the other thing is that, where we got onto this is they were using like powder coating, okay, and during the manufacturing process they would chip it or whatever. And it was just proving like a bit troublesome for them. So they've gone to Raptor.
All the way around the container, top to bottom.
Top to bottom, all the arms. Inside, not so much.
But outside.
We're working with them on the floor because obviously it's got to be a non-slip floor.
Yep.
So
are you using that aluminium dust inside in the floor? Or?
On the floor, we will be. Yeah. So because once it's on, and that's the thing, if it does wear out or it does chip or whatever in that unlikely event, it's easy to be repaired. And it can be, as I said, repaired with a roller. That's it. So getting back to its uses, trailers, chassis on mining vehicles. So I had one figure from a customer that was telling me that on in like Olympic Dam, it's like it's horrendous how much they spend on a vehicle on their fleet over a 5-year period, and a lot of it's just rust, So we've got a lot of I suppose end users now that are using it. Basically, as soon as it comes in, they just paint the whole bottom in Raptor.
That's what they should do. When we first started talking, and we started talking about the applications, I just thought, why does every company not say right from the ground up? You think of water carts spraying salty seawater everywhere, and then the grader that's following behind. And if you're spraying everything, if you're just getting in and spraying it from the ground up, it's gonna bloody make your equipment last a hell of a lot longer.
And it's one of those things that I think that as time goes on and people use it, this whole business is based on ROI.
For sure.
So
apart from this business,
so you look at what they purchase an asset, okay. And I think sometimes that, and I hope over time that changes, and that's why talking to the right people and sort of say that, this might add a few $100s to that, or $1,000, say for example, to the cost of that vehicle, or and over the life though, it could extend. So things like diff housings and chassis rails and that sort of thing, it could extend it, it could double it, triple it. So then suddenly you've got this, you've got that initial, if you want to call it $1,000 to do it, it actually becomes, like an investment. So it's just a matter of working with the right people and finding that and explaining that. It's like all things with something that's new. There's the early adopters, and then they jump onto it, and then what we hope is they move around, and then others see it and they go, "Geez, that really worked." Okay, and then it just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a problem with it, mate. Can you give me a real world example of where Raptor Coat's been used in a mining setting?
Well, probably that one on that container is probably there. They actually supplied one of their clients with it, and I suppose it was a little. Again, there was that degree of apprehension on the increase in cost, because obviously they always look at cost. That's what and so there was an increase in cost, and there was a bit of apprehension. They put it up there, and really what's happened is now their end user, okay, has come back and said, well, this is actually performing better than what we thought, and now they want to do every one of them on that, because obviously it's a company that actually leases these out, so they want to still invest there. They want the equipment to look good, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep, sure.
So but then there's also the rework side as well. So when it comes back in, as you know, when something gets chipped or whatever it is, it actually then you can get corrosion creep. Okay, and then once you start with that, it can be quite expensive to actually get rid of that corrosion. So yeah.
Safety and compliance. Mm-hmm. What's Raptor doing in that space?
Well, there's a number of things actually. So so the first thing is we work with all our partners on the correct PPI, and that's PPE, I should say, on that. But the big one we've got a new product coming down the track. I'm hoping later this year, early next, which I really think fits really well with this industry. Okay, is the fact it's a Raptor coating that's isocyanate free.
That's right. I do remember you mentioning it.
So this will be a first. It's been being used in Europe for probably the past 2.5 years. So it's already had a good foothold there. It's like, this is the one I see for this industry that really, really fits. It takes away that isocyanate. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and it's also a direct to metal. So that means you don't need to prime it as well. And all the testing we've done, those parameters that I was talking about before, UV and salt testing and all that, salt spray testing and that type of thing, it's actually stronger than standard Raptor, believe it or not.
Wow.
So we're doing some work around that.
Is that cost reflective?
We haven't got that far yet. You know, I'm not going to let too much out of the bag yet.
Okay.
But essentially, all our products all meet Australian. They're all on ChemWatch. They've all got SDSs. They've all got TDSs. They're all packaged correctly. The whole bit. We take that really serious in our business. So if there is something that happens, there's got to be the right support structures there to actually help people there if they do have a problem.
I mean, you've just taken my
Stole your thunder.
question. Yeah, it was exciting developments.
Oh, we'll get another one.
Oh, you've got another one?
Oh, yeah. It never stops. It never stops. Look,
that's good. You must have an awesome R&D department.
Yeah, we do. So that's in the UK, based in an absolutely horrible little place called Wellingborough.
Been there?
Yeah, been there. It's horrible.
Is it?
Yeah, look, it's not horrible. I shouldn't say that, but okay, it is.
What's wrong with it, mate?
Oh, it's a little British industrial town. That's all. That's what they do. They just So that's where Raptor's made, and shipped from all over the world from there. So there's a really great team there. The guy that actually invented Raptor is still working in the business.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I actually met him for the first time only last year. He's normally, like a lot of those chemists, they're locked away in dark rooms or in their lab coats. That's all right. Yeah. And so we've got this isocyanate-free one coming, but also what we've got is for those I suppose businesses where they need a quick turnaround. So one of the things with Raptor is the fact, because of the film build is so thick, generally without it being in a like an oven, it takes about 7 days to fully harden off.
Oh wow!
Because it's so thick. Look, and that's a scale according to ambient temperature, and also I suppose how thick it goes on. So what we've developed is it's a product that will cure a lot faster in about 24 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
So for that on-site repairs and that type of thing, it doesn't need to sit over there. Basically, it can be done, and then next day essentially go out.
Shit, mate, this would be a great product for up in the Pilbara.
Oh, huge.
50 degrees.
Oh, it'll
cure in a couple of 24 hours?
Yeah.
48 hours max?
Oh, no, it'll be less than that.
Really?
Yeah. So this product cures in 24 hours in like normal temperatures.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So we're just we're just finalising the field testing on that now. So that'll be a big one. Yeah.
Mate, if someone that's listening today wants to get a trial of Raptor into their site, maybe a maintenance manager's listening, this site superintendents, someone, even a general manager who goes, we're spending a lot of money on vehicles. What can we do to try and get them to last a little bit longer?
Yep.
What do they do?
Well, look, we have I suppose on our website we have a technical line, et cetera, but generally the whole business is supported by a group of, what we call, I suppose technical salespeople. So what they can do is they can come out, and what they do is they look at and assess, they're solution based. So they look at the problems that's occurring, and then what they do is they'll then work with the end user on, one, what texture they want, what they want to achieve, etc. Then what they do is they write what we call, and they work with you. Then they write an SOP, and then they provide on-site training on it as well, and then with what equipment you need, etc. And even all the way down to costings. The whole work. So
that's bloody good service.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously one of the things we've had with Raptor. There's so much opportunity, so we have to refine it down. But so we. It's a big task, and we're building that team more and more. But we've got some really experienced technical people that can come out, and what they do is. One of the key things, I suppose, messages I've had with the team is the fact that keep it simple, the old KISS principle.
Yep.
That's one of the greatest things about Raptor is the fact that it's easy to apply, etc. So don't make it more complicated than what it needs to be.
Most people do.
Oh, well, some people do.
Some people do,
yeah. That's it. If you make it simple and you stick to those values that anyone can paint it, you can be whether it's an engineer or whether it's a diesel mechanical fitter and turner, etc. They can use it. It's easy, and I know, and I'm absolutely 100% confident because I'm an absolute nuffy when it comes to painting. Like, that's
I wouldn't do it. I'd always just pay someone.
Yeah, that's
painting's difficult, mate.
Yeah. It is. It's a real skill. Yeah, but I can paint Raptor. If I can paint Raptor, you could paint Raptor. Someone else can paint Raptor. It's so easy, you know. So I mean, not in saying we still get people that stuff it up. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's easy. So we've got to we've got to stick to that principle.
Lastly, mate, what's something about Raptor that people completely miss and they really need to know? I
suppose, and it's really about the product versatility. That's probably the big one. I'd say, you know, it's too often, because it's been so successful in that four-wheel drive market, and as a ute liner we use in Australia. In America they call it, what do they call it? A truck bed liner. But in Australia, only 15% of our total volume per litre, like litrage across Australia, actually goes into the back of a ute.
Wow.
The rest of it is everywhere else.
Yeah.
Whether it's vehicles, whether it's in the mining sector, agriculture, architectural, the whole bit. So it's very easy to use, and it can go on everything from from steel, through to aluminium. Okay, which aluminium is a horrible thing to paint, but there's a process for that. Can be applied over existing products. It can even go on timber.
Wow.
Yeah, plastic, the whole bit with the right process.
Yep.
Which we provide all those SOPs, and they're all in the technical data sheets. It's incredibly versatile. Actually, one we've got, and we're just about to release some content on this, and this is really interesting. So, guy in Canberra, he's got a crocodile enclosure, and this is a testament to what the product can be used for. He's got a crocodile enclosure that he built himself, and 10 years ago, he sealed it with Raptor. Now, we don't suggest it to stay under the water level. So, because it's got, especially in a salt atmosphere, you get barnacles and all that type of thing, etc. But 10 years on, and he's just extending his crocodile enclosure even more, and he's used Raptor as the liner to seal off the whole.
So obviously works.
Yeah, so it works.
That's amazing.
That's it. Yeah, and
crocodile claws and everything.
Crocodile claws, and that's what sort of
that's
crocodile in his backyard.
Yeah, that's wild. That's
wild.
So
that's
so
it's a really weird sort of, but it kind of shows the versatility of the product. Yeah. That's it.
That should be the tagline, mate.
Change it from a raptor to a crocodile. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you so much, mate, for coming in. King of Tough, Raptor. If you haven't used it, jump on and bloody buy some from all your favourite bloody suppliers. Dan, thanks very much for coming in and spending the time with us this morning. King of Tough, Raptor. Everyone should get behind it, mate. Awesome product.
Thank you very much for having me. And if there is any people out there that need any help or anything like that, by all means, reach out to you or just come through to our website, which is raptorcoatings.com.au. We have a specific industrial side as well. And we're more than willing to help. It's what we're here to do.
Beautiful, mate. Yeah, we'll put the website down the bottom in the show notes.
Beautiful.
Thanks very much for tuning in once again to another awesome episode. Don't forget to like, comment, something else that Dimitri always tells me to do. See you next time.